Hello, everybody. Welcome back to News for Normies. Like I start every video with, if you have some normies in your life that need to hear some news, especially after this week of news, like the video and share it with somebody because we are in some strange times indeed. So obviously the biggest news story of the week was the assassination attempt on Trump last Saturday. I'm going to save that to the end because I have a lot of thoughts on that and want to dedicate a lot of time on that. So I'm going to try and go through some other news stories real quick to get to that. So Donald Trump announced J.D. Vance from Ohio as his vice presidential pick. Also, they have said that they can't commit to a vice president debate right now because they don't know who the Democrat president and vice president are going to be. Also, shout out to fellow Ohioan J.D. Vance. I have not read his book or watched the movie, so I probably need to do so soon. Anyway, news. A federal judge threw out the classified documents case in Florida against Donald Trump. So another courtroom victory for Teflon Don. Joe Biden claims to have COVID and canceled a speech this week, and has also said that he will drop out of the presidential race if doctors say he has a condition that would cause him more problems. This is awful funny timing to me, since Democrat donors have frozen $90 million that they are not going to give to other Democrat campaigns unless Biden drops out. Also, like I talked about last week, a Parkinson's expert doctor has been seen visiting the White House a lot more in the last 8 months or so. So, some things are kind of lining up here, I think. Also, with him claiming to have COVID will cause lefties to go absolutely crazy about COVID bullshit again. So, be on the lookout for that. And that moves me on to my next story here. Some rumors are circulating that Biden will drop out, but I would take that with a grain of salt. This man has spent the better part of the last 4 or 5 decades trying to become president, and since he has been in the White House, I'll say, why would he stop now? Doesn't seem like very common sense to me. Let's also not forget he had to drop out in the one of the 1980s presidential races because he straight up plagiarized a British politician. Moving on, Elon Musk says that he will donate $45 million per month to the Trump campaign until the election is over. Musk has also said that he is going to move all of Twitter out of California due to Governor Newsom signing a bill recently. This bill that Gavin Newsom signed would ban schools from notifying parents about kids' gender identity, which, let me remind you, is not a thing for children. Children cannot make those decisions on their own. So, yeah, good move for Elon Musk. Get out of California, quit giving tax money to California, and I would urge other people to do the same and leave your California politics in California. Looking at all of you transplants to Texas and Florida on that one. Speaking of Florida, wow, that was a real good segue. 11 illegal aliens were recently arrested in Florida at some sort of, professional soccer game final. I'm not a sports guy, don't know what it was called, don't really care. But these 11 dirtbags have had previous encounters with law enforcement, and their crimes range from assault, battery, and more. So if you would like your cities to be safer, again, vote for Trump in November. Yesterday, as of the day of me recording this, there was a major outage in the cyber world on corporate computers and computer systems that shut down flights across the world, caused banking issues, at least here in the United States. I think some reports came out of Europe as well, and more issues that related to computer systems working properly. This outage came from a Microsoft software update that basically froze people like corporate computers. This doesn't seem to be affecting personal computers, so your computer at home that you use for school or work or gaming, such as myself, and I'm recording this the day after this outage happened. Personal computers seem to be fine. So I'm not a cyber expert, just a guy talking on the internet. Speaking of Microsoft, several major corporations like Microsoft, John Deere, and even CNN have eliminated their DEI departments within their respective companies. As people have said in the past, go woke, go broke. Wow, I really did not intend these segues to be this good. So, if y'all know who Jack Black is, he's a musician, actor, entertainer. His band Tenacious D was recently on tour in Australia and had some dates scheduled in other countries and stuff, but their band Tenacious D abruptly canceled the rest of their tour after bandmate Kyle Gass made a remark on stage saying that, quote, he wished the shooter wouldn't miss next time. That is in reference to the assassination attempt on Trump. Jack Black made a statement the next day condemning political violence in all forms, but yet he was one of many liberals that railed against Trump for the past 8 years. And I know I talked about this before, but I'm going to reiterate this one again. Across the country, there are almost 10 million licensed hunters that are not registered voters. Here in my home state of Ohio, we have about 620,000 people that have are licensed hunters that are not registered voters. So if you are one of my fellow Ohioans, or just somebody in somewhere else in the rest of the country watching this, and you are not registered to vote, you can either A, go to your county board of elections and get registered, or go to vote4america.org. That is vote number 4america.org. And I'll leave that in the description on this video. Okay, so like I said up top, I was going to wait till the end of the video. Here we are. From here on is going to be solely about the assassination attempt on Trump. So if you don't want to hear any more about that, this is your chance to end the video. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, all the stuff. Let me know what you think. We're moving on now. Okay, so if you were living under some sort of a rock for the past week, Donald Trump was holding a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania last week on July 13th, 2024. A lone gunman was on a rooftop, took a shot at the president, or presidential candidate, I'll say. When Trump realized he'd been hit in the ear by a bullet, he immediately dropped to the ground, but popped back up, threw his fist in the air, and chanted, "Fight, fight, fight." It saddens me that somebody actually took a shot at President Trump, but I am very glad that he only sustained very minor injuries. I am glad that I was able to go to work on Monday and more or less live my normal day-to-day life. If Trump would have been killed, I wouldn't be making this video right now. There's a good chance that this country would have been in complete chaos within 24 hours, and we would probably be looking at another situation like World War I. If you have not studied anything about World War I, here's the quick rundown. Archduke Franz Ferdinand was killed by an assassin. That triggered several alliances to come to defense of one another in Europe, and World War I started almost instantaneously. So I say that because there are very similar parallels with that. There was already tensions in Europe at the time, and all these countries had alliances with each other that if one was attacked by another, we'll come to your defense, yada, yada, yada. And so it was already a powder keg waiting to go. It is no um, it is no surprise either that right now in America we are very tense in the political sphere as well. So if the shooter would have been successful, probably wouldn't be making this video right now. Okay, moving on. The next day, former Vice President Joe Biden made a 6-minute video calling for people to not commit acts of political violence and basically gave his well wishes to Donald Trump and said, you know, we're still going to beat him at the ballot box in November, blah, blah, blah. First off, no, you're not. Second off, you can't come out and make a video like this after somebody actually takes a shot at President Trump when you, for the past 8 years, have been calling this dude evil, Hitler, a threat to democracy, an existential threat to America, etc., etc. Okay? You're not pulling the wool over our eyes anymore, dude. Also, let's not forget that the Biden-Harris campaign were actively bailing rioters out during 2020, during the Summer of Love, quote unquote, and leftists have been calling for violence against Trump for years, and Trump supporters for years. Let's not remember the whole Punch-a-Nazi bullshit that was going on during Trump's administration. And I believe it was in Portland, Oregon. A dude was just walking down the street, had a MAGA hat on, and took a couple bullets to the chest and died. So, again, you cannot come out at this point and call for an end to political violence when you've been stirring it up for almost a decade now. And just to be clear, I don't want anybody to do this kind of stuff toward leftists either, because, like I said, it can cause a lot more problems. So have disagreements, maybe verbal debates or whatever, no violence toward anybody, okay? Because if America goes down, the whole world's going down. And that's another topic for another day, but I'm moving on here. In my opinion, leftist reaction to the assassination attempt is sickening but not shocking. Some have feigned sympathy for Trump. Others have said, have made similar statements that Kyle Gass did. Yeah. This isn't shocking though, since these same people are also okay with killing babies in the womb. And some have also blamed the assassination on Trump, or the assassination attempt on Trump for his violent rhetoric, which is basically saying he was asking for it. So, you know, these are also the same people that will get on you for victim blaming if something like this happens to other people, you know. And I'm not saying that, you know, that a woman wearing a low-cut top or a short skirt should be raped because she was asking for it by the way she dressed. No, I'm not saying that at all. And I think rapists should be put in jail for the rest of their life and executed. So these same people that don't want you victim blaming, one group of people are okay with victim blaming other people. You see how they're hypocrites here? I can already feel myself getting worked up. I'm going to try and remain calm and civil. Other leftists are also using this assassination attempt to call for gun control and have been sharing a meme on social media that says something to the effect of, "We hope you care this much next time it's a third grade classroom and not an ear." Okay, let me shut that down real quick too. One, we do care. We hate when it happens because it makes all gun owners look bad. However, we have tried putting forth solutions to this as well, and leftists don't want to hear it. You know, when you look at statistics, and trust the science, something like 94% of mass shootings take place in gun-free zones. So maybe we should start by ending gun-free zones. You know, because crazies are going to do what crazies do. And seriously, how do you think a sticker on a glass door is going to keep somebody from coming in and shooting up the place? How many schools have been hit? How many movie theaters have been hit? You know, and if there was one person there that could sling some lead back, then it would be a deterrent for that person to not do what they're going to do. Perfect case in point of this, look at the Christian school that got shot up in Tennessee. The shooter there had written a manifesto and had 2 different places picked out to commit this shooting. They ultimately chose the one they went with because the other one had armed personnel within the school and therefore had a greater risk of being shot in the face when they tried to shoot up kids. So maybe we should have more than just a frumpy, overweight resource officer who's only taking the gig as a cushy last job before retirement, and get some people in there that are actually qualified with a gun and actually want to keep kids safe. So again, I don't understand why leftists think you have this moral superiority over everybody else. I think that your ideas are solely the ones that are right. You know, I'm not saying that all right-leaning people are correct all the time either, but at least hear their ideas out. But no, when somebody says something you don't like, you just plug your ears and start calling them every ist and phobe under the sun until you get your way like a spoiled, petulant child. Okay. Trying to keep it calm here. All right. So moving on. Back to the shooting attempt on Trump. The shooter apparently stole his dad's gun and had explosives in his car. I find that hard to believe. I really find that hard to believe. Hey, speaking of explosives for a second, y'all remember in 2020 when explosives were found outside the headquarters of the DNC and the RNC in Washington, D.C.? Yeah, whatever happened with that? Get to that in a minute. This shooter was technically a registered Republican, but donated to Act Blue, which was a Democrat-run organization that donated money to Democrat campaigns. I didn't write this in my notes here, but I'm going to mention it too. He was wearing a shirt from the popular gun YouTube influencer, I guess you could call him, Demolition Ranch. I think that was used as sort of a camouflage. And I'll talk about that here in a minute too. This dude also allegedly used a drone to get aerial footage of the event area before the event took place, probably to scout out potential shooting positions. This literally is impossible with current FAA regulations. Like, according to regulations now on newer drones that are made, they have to have a certain software in it that would actually block them from flying over certain designated zones during like political events and stuff like this. So either the dude had an old drone that wasn't up to date on software, he hacked a drone to avoid regulations, or had a homemade one. The more details that come out about this have me asking more questions about it. Now, on to about his past affiliations and stuff. Oh, I didn't write this down either, and I forgot to. The FBI apparently is looking into his phone and personal devices and stuff, and the dude wasn't on any kind of social media or had hardly any social media presence or anything. I find that extremely hard to believe as well. There is no way that a 20-year-old doesn't have any kind of social media. You're telling me that a 20-year-old in 2024 wasn't on TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, probably not Facebook, because Facebook's seen as like the old person app or whatever, but he wasn't on any of those? Or he wasn't on True Social or Getter or MeWe or anything? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Second, yes, he was technically a registered Republican, probably using that as a bit of a cover for what was going to happen, and wearing a Demolition Ranch shirt would be sort of a camouflage, to blend in with that crowd, because a lot of Trump supporters are gun enthusiasts, own guns and stuff, and probably watch Demolition Ranch's videos. I mean, there's a good chance that many people there know who Demolition Ranch is and watch his content. So seeing a dude just walking around in a Demolition Ranch shirt at a Trump rally wouldn't really set off anybody's alarms. Until he's starting to look around at a building and looking up at it and stuff. Yeah, that's when it gets suspicious. Some reports are claiming that police knew about the shooter 26 minutes before he took the shot. Other reports claim that Secret Service flagged him as a threat 3 hours before the event started because they found a rangefinder on his person. Why would you be bringing a rangefinder to a political rally like that, bud? And why didn't the Secret Service get that guy out of there beforehand? Also, the building he shot from was completely unoccupied by any security detail on the roof. And apparently, the building he shot from was a staging area for police and security at that event. Again, like I said, more and more details come out, more and more questions. There are several parallels to this assassination attempt and the actual assassination of JFK. If we go into the Wayback Machine, we know that JFK wanted to pull American troops and any kind of American influence out of Vietnam, and also wanted to dismantle several of the federal level agencies. There was a prominent speech that he made talking about, secret societies and whatnot, and wanted to dismantle those. And what you know, he gets shot in Texas. If we fast forward to today, we know that Trump wants to end the war in Ukraine and the conflict in Gaza, and has also seen the firsthand evils of the three-letter agencies. So there's no surprise to me that somebody takes a shot at him at one of his outdoor rallies like this. I personally believe that this was set up by the FBI and or CIA to take Trump out because they fear what's going to happen when he gets elected. Just going to keep it there. Speaking of the Alphabet Boys, the FBI just needs to be completely dismantled ASAP. There is no way that they did not have some sort of surveillance on this guy before this event happened. I mean, look at every time there's a mass shooting at a school or something, the FBI always comes out and says, oh, well, the shooter was on our radar, blah, 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 blah. This is also a clear failure of Secret Service, too, because they had, apparently they had the B team on Trump that day because Joe Biden was doing a rally like 3 or 5 miles away or something like that. Plus, people tried alerting police and Secret Service of the guy on the roof minutes before he took the shot, and they just stumbled about like they were completely incompetent. And speaking of incompetence, the Secret Service director Kimberly Cheadle should resign, but she refuses to. And as we see every time, something like this happens, they always point the blame at everybody else and never take accountability of their actions. So expect more of this if you plan on voting for Biden. She claimed the roof where the shooter took his shot was too sloped for Secret Service to set up any kind of security there. Yet there are photos of Secret Service counter snipers on other sloped roofs. So calling major bullshit on that one. Also, when Secret Service administrators were asked about the situation, they answered 4 questions and then abruptly left. So either they knew something was going to happen and purposely didn't act, or they know that what DEI initiatives have seriously crippled the Secret Service, and they refuse to admit it. Somebody's lying here, and somebody needs to be held accountable for this. And finally, some weird stuff that happened. Truth Social, the social media site that Donald Trump started after he was kicked off of Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all the other ones, is a publicly traded company. And the day before this rally took place, there was a large order that was put in to short the stock of Truth Social. That's some really weird timing a day before that rally, and that happened on a Friday. The following Monday, which was obviously this past week from me recording this, the RNC kicked off. So why would you short stock a day before a political rally like this, and 3 days before the Republican National Convention, where there would likely be a lot more traffic to Truth Social during this week, which would then potentially cause stock prices to rise? So why would you sell and short the stock right beforehand? It doesn't make any sense, man. And to be clear, I don't own any stock in Truth Social, so I'm not trying to do this for any financial gain. I am pointing out some really weird stuff going on. And like I said earlier, the FBI is allegedly looking into this dude's phone and other personal devices, but I highly doubt they'll find anything. And they've already said, too, that, you know, he's not on any kind of social media, has no social media presence, which is weird. Weird, man. Really weird. Yeah. Every time something like this happens, the FBI always says the shooter was on our radar. And then nothing ever happens to the FBI because they fail time and time again. It's no surprise to anybody that the FBI is crooked and corrupt as every other government agency is, because they staged the kidnapping plot of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. They faked the classified documents scandal at Mar-a-Lago to try to arrest Trump on. And if we go back to the 90s, the FBI killed Randy Weaver and his family at Ruby Ridge, all because of a sawed-off shotgun. Now, to play devil's advocate, you know, one, he shouldn't have broken the law, and two, he should have just gone to court, got the, you know, slap on the wrist or whatever, and moved on with his life. But the FBI killed a man and his entire family over a sawed-off shotgun. They also, along with the ATF, killed over 80 innocent women and children at the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas, and were never held accountable for that. All because David Koresh might have been selling some illegal weapons or whatever. You know, they had plenty of time to arrest him when he was out in town and stuff, and chose not to. Oh, and finally, and I forgot to put this in my notes, we know the FBI was threatening to blackmail Martin Luther King Jr. during the Civil Rights era, and basically told him in letters that it would be more beneficial if he took his own life. Then he gets clipped at a hotel in Memphis, Tennessee. Finally, when FBI Director, I think it was Christopher Wray, was asked about any FBI plants in the crowd at the January 6th protest, he answered basically, "We can't comment on that." Hey, you know, the answer to that question should be no. That's what the answer to that question should be. So I hope you people are finally aware that these three-letter agencies are not working for you, and they are actually the biggest threat to America as we know it. So I have gone on long enough. I hope y'all share this with people who need to hear it. And again, if you're not registered to vote, you better be, and you better go vote in November, because we need it. So I'm going to end it here. I will see y'all next week, and hopefully with a lot more good news than bad. So see y'all next time.